capacity, mine is the privilege to welcome you to Yale and to this historic conference that will study, from the points of view of multiple disciplines, the phenomenon of global anti-Semitism. That you have gathered here is testimony to the liveliness of higher education in America, a happy, hopeful thought. But your presence also testifies to the endurance of darkness, hatred, and the irrationality in the world, a recognition of the power of light and enlightenment and of the human capacity to bring darkness to light is surely at the heart of the Yale Initiative for the Interdisciplinary Study of Anti-Semitism, and therefore of this conference that studies global anti-Semitism. The sense that human reason may be sufficient to illuminate enough of the factors that enable the cancer of human hatred to metastasize, that we may yet bring the body of humanity into remission and even health. This sense informs all of your work. It informs as well the mission of every great university and the work of Judaism, namely the commitment to Tikkun Olam, to work for the repair of our world. May your efforts during this conference yield light, your collegiality generate hope, your research suggest a way to recover human wisdom, dignity, sanity, and solidarity. I wish you hatzlacha. I wish now to introduce the Deputy Provost of Yale University, Professor Francis Rosenbluth, the Damon Wells Professor of International Politics, who has served as Deputy Provost since July 2009, a comparative political economist with a special interest in Japan. Rosenbluth currently chairs the Department of Political Science. Formerly, I thought I had that, I thought you couldn't do both, yes. Former chair of the Department of Political Science and director of the George Walter Leitner Program in International Comparative Political Economy, part of our Macmillan Center. Member of the Yale faculty since 1994, Rosenbluth has focused her research on electoral micro-foundations of different forms of capitalism and on the politics of gender inequality. In addition to numerous articles and book chapters, she has authored the books The Politics of Oligarchy, Institutional Choice in Imperial Japan, with Mark Ramsire, Japan's Political Marketplace, also with Ramsire, and Financial Politics in Contemporary Japan, Professor Rosenbluth.
I bring you greetings from President Richard Levin and Provost Peter Salovey, who would very much like to have been here. It is our special privilege and delight to welcome you here to Yale, and particularly those of you who've come from abroad, so many of you. You enrich our discussion by bringing with you your non-American perspectives and experiences, and you will increase the impact of this conference when you go back to your respective communities. So we're pleased that so many of you have come from so far. As many of you know, the Yale Initiative for the Interdisciplinary Study of Anti-Semitism, which is hosting this event, recognizes that the kind of human hatred of which anti-Semitism is a variant is a multifaceted phenomenon that can't be studied by any single lens. And so this initiative is guided by an outstanding group of scholars from all over the university representing many different disciplines. We recognize that to understand the causes of anti-Semitism, the different forms it takes in different times and places, we must study it through a whole variety of lenses and disciplines. So in addition to Charles Small, who has training in sociology and political science, the Faculty Governance Committee of the Yale Initiative of Interdisciplinary Study of Anti-Semitism is guided by Gus Ranis, who's an emeritus professor of economics, Stephen Smith from political science, and has as its members a group that you will see here in your bulletin: Jeffrey Alexander from sociology, Charles Hill, who is a senior lecturer of internet and a distinguished fellow of international security studies at Yale, Hadar Lubin, who is an assistant clinical professor of psychiatry, Risa Sodi, Director of Language Program, Senior Lecturer in Italian, Marie Samuels, Professor of French, Avi Schilberschatz, who is a Professor and Chair of Computer Science, Marcy Shore from History Department. And in addition, there is an even larger group, a sort of penumbra of scholars who are from many different departments and disciplines around the campus. So I hope you will perhaps run into them while you're here in the next few days. We wish you a productive conference that addresses searching questions without settling on easy answers, that seeks to understand the root causes of hatred without shouting down those who hate. As many of you saw, the latest issue of Time magazine suggests that America is in danger of becoming an Islamophobic country. For despite our melting pot tradition, Americans share the tendency of people everywhere to despise those we don't understand. We academics with a professional commitment to deep questioning carry a responsibility to pull against the human impulse to buy into stereotypes and generalizations. Yale's commitment to free speech is anchored in the liberal tenet that the best antidote to hate speech is not curtailment of the offending speech, but more inquiry, more debate, more speech. And we hope that this conference will provide such a venue where everything is on the table, all points of view are taken in the spirit of exploration and understanding. Thank you.
Aviva Raz Schechter is an Israeli career diplomat who served at the Israeli Embassy in Washington, D.C., the Israeli Embassy in Amman, Jordan, and the Israeli Consulate General in Montreal, Canada. For the last 4 years, she has held the position of the Director of the Department for Anti-Semitism and Holocaust Issues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Jerusalem, Israel. She is the chair of the Global Forum for Combating Anti-Semitism and co-chair of the Israeli delegation to the Task Force for International Cooperation on Holocaust Education, Remembrance, and Research. BA and MA from Hebrew University in Middle Eastern Affairs. It's my pleasure to present to you Aviva Raz Schechter.
Thank you. Good morning. It is my great pleasure to be here today, and I'm happy to bring greetings on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Jerusalem. I have been involved with the YIISA initiative since its beginning in 2006, and with great satisfaction I've seen it grow into the cutting-edge initiative that it has become. The very fact that this conference is the product of a joint venture between the Yale University and other prestigious academic institutions such as the Hebrew University, Tel Aviv University, Indiana University, and Birkbeck College testifies to the importance of the subject, and it also testifies to the sense of purpose and urgency that were instilled and channeled by a very special individual. Charles Small and I go back many years. He is an esteemed colleague and a very good friend. The vibrant and dynamic center that he has built forms a central academic pillar in our worldwide efforts promoting the collaboration between decision makers, government administrators, and scholars that will hopefully improve reaching the common objectives that we have. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has created a special department for combating anti-Semitism about 5 years ago, with the vision that we need to face the challenges of new anti-Semitism and growing anti-Semitism all over the world in a more political and strategic way. As the director of this department, I have worked in order to re-establish a smaller forum that was dealing with combating anti-Semitism, and it has become the global forum for combating anti-Semitism. Today it is the biggest forum worldwide, and it has brought last December about 500 people from over 50 countries, ministers, parliamentarians, heads of NGOs, scholars, and many others to Jerusalem to discuss these issues. We also created within the Global Forum, but as an international parliamentary initiative, the ICCA, the Interparliamentary Coalition on Combating Antisemitism, and it was first convened in February 2009 under the British government, the British Parliament. It will be convened again in November in Ottawa under the auspices of the Canadian government. We are hopeful that we'll see many more parliamentarians joining this coalition, because we do know that the Jewish people in many ways reflects the historical laboratory of hatreds, of course of anti-Semitism, but it can also become a laboratory that will provide better ways to combat other hatreds. And therefore, the dialogues that we are handling now on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and this department on the bilateral levels with many countries, with many governments, with the European Commission on a very, very permanent basis during the last years to discuss anti-Semitism, xenophobia, Islamophobia, hatreds of the other. This is our goal, and we truly hope that the collaboration between governments, between NGOs, between scholars, will be a fruitful collaboration and will help us step these challenges. The new faces of anti-Semitism, and especially now focusing on the state of Israel, delegitimizing the state of Israel, has become our greatest challenge, and I'm speaking about it as a strategic challenge for the state of Israel. The fact that anti-Zionism and anti-Israelism in certain sectors is becoming a guise for anti-Semitism is something we need not only to talk about, but also to raise awareness for and to deal with it, so that we won't face threats that are unacceptable in our days. So furthermore, I would say that YIISA is a very important initiative for us, for the state of Israel, for all those that are working on combating anti-Semitism. And I would hope that these efforts will become wider and will bring very many people to collaborate together. I wish all of us a very fruitful conference. Thank you.
I wish to echo Aviva Ron-Setner's observation about the genius loci was brought us all together, Charles Small. I too have witnessed the emergence of the YIISA, the Yale initiative, the interdisciplinary study of anti-Semitism over these last 4 years. It is clear that it took the initiative, the insight, the persistence, the tenacity, the gentleness of a truly engaged scholar to make this happen. That's Charles Small. He's the true host of this event, and it is therefore my pleasure to present him, Charles.
So thank you very much for the introduction, Rabbi Panet, and my colleagues, Aviva Raz, and certainly Francis Rosenbluth from the Provost Office, who not only supported YIISA from the beginning, but now under Francis' guidance, I think, is bringing YIISA to a new level, sort of incorporating it more into the fabric of the university, for which we are grateful. And I'm particularly grateful to you. The fact that 110 scholars are at this conference is amazing. And the fact that you've come literally from all over the world, from every continent in the world, is testimony to the fact that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. And it's a great honor to welcome you here to the conference. Before I just get into my welcoming remarks, I want to thank, there's a few people who made this conference possible. And these are the people that really put the entire thing together. I'd like to thank, first of all, Lauren Clark. I don't know where she is. Organizing it. It's amazing to work with a colleague who takes this, her work, and so seriously, and so graciously, and kindly. I'd also like to thank Tatendra Mayen, who's here as a visiting scholar with us at YIISA. Conti Baltimore, who's a volunteer, has been helping us for for years in our office in a very unassuming and kind way. Evan YIISA, who's here as a volunteer from Montreal, came to help us with the conference. Dina Farber, who's here helping Lauren. Daphne Liu, Sarah Harrison, who came in from California to help us, and Ulrika Becker, who made, as you know, was the sort of coordinator and correspondent chief for months getting this whole thing together. So I'd like to thank everybody. And without their help, this wouldn't have happened. So in a sense, I think your presence puts the issue of anti-Semitism on the map. Last night I was speaking with Erwin Kotler, the former Minister of Justice of Canada and Professor of Human Rights Law from McGill University, who set up, as Aviva was saying, the ICCA, this group of government officials to deal with issues of anti-Semitism. The United Kingdom last year hosted a successful conference of the British Parliament, where there was more than 156 parliamentarians from 40-odd countries who came together and unanimously passed the London Declaration, which was signed by Prime Minister Brown and the members of Parliament who were at the conference, looking at and denouncing issues of contemporary anti-Semitism, including the anti-Semitism against the Jewish collective of the State of Israel. And Canada will be hosting the next conference in November. Every year it will be rotating. The United States will host one in the near future, and Italy, I believe, is holding the next one. But Erwin Kotler was saying, as he's beginning to plan this conference, he's being attacked by people who claim that looking at anti-Semitism, that this conference being hosted by the Canadian government in November basically is an attempt to criminalize speech, to curtail academic freedom, to silence debate regarding Israel, and that after all, anti-Semitism is not an important issue and there's other forms of discrimination that are more important. And this is, as you know, and I think I can speak for many people here, scholars of anti-Semitism, scholars of contemporary anti-Semitism in particular, have a difficult struggle. To deal with issues of contemporary anti-Semitism is to end friendships. It's to end political discourses and discussions with colleagues, with people that you study with at the PhD level, through to your career. It's something that is not popular, it's something that is not palatable to many people. And yet the fact that YIISA is here, that Yale has had the courage to allow me to run around for a few years and to put this together, the fact that you're here and we're launching the International Association for the Study of Anti-Semitism, and the fact that so many people, over 110 scholars, from senior scholars who are great, accomplished academics with many publications and books who are here, to young junior faculty that are here, it's really, I think for the first time, we're actually putting the study of contemporary anti-Semitism on the academic map, and I thank you for being here. The title of the conference is Global Anti-Semitism, A Crisis in Modernity. And I'll just lay this out very briefly. Rabbi Ponet, about 2 years ago, introduced Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel came here to do the Chubb lecture series, and he spoke at the law school to a packed audience, I believe of more than 700 or 800 people. There was an overflow room with a video of him. And Elie Wiesel, to me, I grew up in Montreal, and Elie Wiesel had family in Montreal, and he would come at least once a year, and he would give lectures at the synagogue. My friend Lloyd Fischler and I used to attend regularly. And Elie Wiesel, to me, I think it encapsulates not only being a survivor, a witness to the Shoah, but he sort of encompasses the humility of the great rabbinical traditions. He's a human rights activist. He not only struggled to let people know about what happened during the Shoah, but he also campaigned for human rights from Cambodia to South Africa to Bosnia and beyond. And Elie Wiesel, the symbol of a Holocaust survivor, in his lifetime, he came to Yale University and he spoke about the possibility of another genocide against 6 million Jews. And for me to see Elie Wiesel in front of the finest young, the future, the best of the future of American young students and scholars, speaking about the possibility in his lifetime, after what he's endured, what his generation endured, to speak about the possibility of another genocide against 6 million Jews was one of the most indignant, disturbing things I've ever witnessed. But Elie Wiesel went on to say that the thing that really bothers him, as if that wasn't enough, the thing that really bothers him is the silence. And he asked, where are the students? Where are the academics? Where are the professors? Where are the intellectual leaders? Where are the journalists? Where are the people speaking out against this genocidal anti-Semitism, which is once again in our midst? And I think for the first time since he spoke, I'm really honored and happy to see so many people come to this conference in our little, from our little center in YIISA, and to be joined by the directors of other research centers, the other research centers dealing with issues of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism over time has changed. It's changed and morphed as the world has changed. There was a period where the lens of the way people perceived reality was basically or predominantly through the lens of religion, and in those days, the Jews were the wrong religion. And the key aspect that makes anti-Semitism, in my mind, so toxic and so dangerous and genocidal, inherently genocidal, is the fact that the various forms of anti-Semitism, during the different forms of anti-Semitism, there's this belief that if only the Jews will change, the world will be saved. So when we saw the world through religion, if the Jews would convert, the world would be saved, the Messiah would come, and the like. Fast forward to when the world perceived reality through notions of race and ethnicity, biological notions, or nationalism. There was the belief that if only the Jewish race or the Jewish nation would disappear, the race and the nation would be saved. The world would be saved. And once again, in the contemporary context, there's this belief, if only the Jews, if only the Israelis would change their stubborn policies, radical Islam would disappear, jihadism will disappear, the Middle East will be saved, and once again, humanity will be saved. And it's this strand, this narrative of anti-Semitism that I find most disturbing. The title, Global Anti-Semitism, A Crisis of Modernity, to me means that we need to understand from various disciplinary perspectives, from various political and ideological perspectives and methodologies, that this has to be a big tent where we try to incorporate all of the brain power in this room and beyond to understand what is taking place. The world has changed in the last several decades with the advent of neoliberal globalization. There's a belief in neoliberal globalization that if you weaken the state or expand the free market system, that this will bring about greater social justice, that this will bring about even democracy and wealth and goodness, better goods and services to its people. So there's a weakening of the state. At the same time as the state weakens, particularly in some countries, namely in the Middle East, there's a vacuum, and the vacuum is being filled by a reactionary social group, what I would call radical Islamism, not Islam and not Muslims. This is very important because the greatest victims of radical Islamism are Muslims, and that this reactionary social movement uses very openly, as we will see soon, with Professor Wilson's presentation, very openly and very concretely and straight up and honestly, a form of genocidal anti-Semitism. And I'm choosing my words as a scholar, genocidal anti-Semitism. And this social reactionary movement is gaining power and influence like other anti-modernist social movements in the past used anti-Semitism to gain power. And they use the most pernicious form of anti-Semitism. They use the most pernicious form of European anti-Semitism, namely the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, has become the narrative in which the Iranian revolutionary regime, for example, understands the Jew and others in the region. They also are diametrically opposed to the basic notions, for example, of citizenship, which I believe everybody in this room would believe that everybody has the right to be equal citizens under one legal system. Women, gay people, that the fact that we should have cultural pluralism and religious freedoms and pluralism, these are things I'm sure that regardless of our political orientation, that we would endorse. Yet this reactionary social movement is diametrically opposed to that notion. So here at the one level is an open and honest and straightforward radical movement, reactionary movement that is unambiguous with its anti-Semitism. And at the same time, the crisis of modernity, in the title of this presentation, in my mind, is that we in the West, what Elie Wiesel was saying, where are the intellectuals? Where are the students? And I think, in a sense, that we in the academy, is it postmodernism? What is it? Our capacity that we have to, in a sense, accept every type of narrative has equal voice, that every narrative is as ethically and morally acceptable as the next? Are there lines that we say that if a social movement is preaching forms of genocide or bigotry, or to exclude or to kill groups of people, that this is the line that is unacceptable? And yet the academy is silent, largely silent. And in the words of Henri Bernard Levy, I think it's the role of the intellectual, of the scholar, to shine light where there's darkness. And I hope, from the various perspectives, the many perspectives and positions of the scholars in this room, that you will help to shine light in the darkness in the ways that you know how. And I hope that you have a wonderful, productive conference. And I hope that you meet people and network, and many types of projects will come out of these meetings. Thank you very much for being here.
Professor Menachem Milson, Professor of Arabic Studies at the Hebrew University at Jerusalem, co-founder and chairman of the Middle East Media Research Institute, MEMRI, author, among other publications, of Najib Mahfouz, the novelist, philosopher of Cairo, comprehensive study of the Egyptian Nobel laureate, currently working on issues of Arab anti-Semitism and reform versus Islamism in the Muslim world. Professor Milson will deliver the keynote address. Professor Milson, welcome.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Clement. Before I begin with this PowerPoint presentation, let me make some remarks. First of all, I must give credit to some 30 young researchers in the Memory TV program who were 16 hours a day, every day, 2 shifts, monitor more than 100 Middle East TV channels, and record and translate, and we are going to see some of that. Another remark is, what's the connection between media, between memory, the Middle East Media Research Institute, and anti-Semitism? Memory was not created in order to monitor or to research anti-Semitism. Our mission was defined when we started it some 11 years ago, to reflect, to recall, to publish the important issues that are central to the public discourse, to the political discourse in Middle Eastern countries. And unfortunately, we very soon found that we have to deal a lot with anti-Semitism because it is so prevalent, persistent, and salient in all the central media of the Middle East. And thus, Memory Archives now contain, among other things, the largest collection of modern anti-Semitic films, clips, and articles from the Middle East. Another question that we are asked is those clips, where do they come from? What sort of channels? So to answer a question that may arise later in your minds, they all come from major channels. We do not monitor local provincial channels, nothing like a local station in Oshkosh, Illinois. These are all the equivalents of NBC, CBS, CNN. These are the major channels of Middle Eastern countries. So let me start. It's mostly from Arab TV channel, but also some Iranian in past. I'll start with a sermon, a Friday sermon from the largest mosque in Gaza a few years ago. It's, I think, good for introduction because it gives a picture of Islamist worldview. We wouldn't take it as a model of accurate history, but it is a good example of the mixture of motifs, some indigenous, local, Middle East, Arab, Islamic, some naturalized, imported from the West, and naturalized and Arabized. So we'll do. Oh no, I have to go backwards. I don't have a mouse here, and I don't go backwards. Start with this. Oh, I'll have to use your guidance.
فقد ابتلانا بأشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود ولتجدن أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود والذين أشركوا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله حذر نبيه وحبيبه صلى الله عليه وسلم من اليهود الذين قتلوا أنبياءهم وحرفوا توراتهم وفسدوا وأفسدوا على مدار عصور حياتهم وبقيام دولة إسرائيل ضاعت الأمة الإسلامية بأسرها لأن إسرائيل سرطان استشرى في جسد الأمة الإسلامية لأن اليهود فيروس يشبه الإيدز يعاني منه كل العالم على هذه الأرض. تجدون اليهود وراء كل فتنة على هذه الأرض. معاناة الشعوب وراءها اليهود. اسألوا بريطانيا ماذا فعلت اليهود في أوائل القرن السادس الميلادي؟ ماذا فعلوا باليهود؟ طردوهم وعذبوهم وأجلوهم ومنعوهم من دخولها أكثر من 300 عام متتالية من صنيع اليهود في بريطانيا. اسألوا فرنسا ماذا فعلت باليهود يوم عذبوهم وطردوهم وحرقوا تلمودهم للفتن التي أرادوا أن يشعلوها في فرنسا في عهد لويس ال19. اسألوا البرتغال ماذا فعلت باليهود. اسألوا روسيا القيصرية التي استضافت اليهود فتآمروا على قتل قيصر فصنع فيهم المذابح المتتالية. ولا تسألوا ألمانيا ماذا فعلت باليهود لأن اليهود هم الذين استفزوا النازية لمحاربة العالم كله. يوم حرك اليهود عن طريق الحركة الصهيونية حركوا الدول لمحاربة ألمانيا اقتصاديا ومقاطعة البضائع الألمانية. يوم حركوا روسيا وبريطانيا وفرنسا وإيطاليا فاشتد غضب الألمان على اليهود خاصة. فكان ما كان في مثل هذه الأيام التي يحيون ذكراها اليهود اليوم وها هم يقومون بما هو أسوأ مما فعل بهم في الحرب النازية. نعم ربما قتل منهم من قتل وربما حرق منهم من حرق ولكنهم يكبرون هذه الصورة ليكسبوا إعلام العالم ومشاعر العالم. اليهود فعل بهم ما فعل في أسوأ جرائم عرفها التاريخ ولكن ليست أسوأ مما يفعله اليهود بأهل فلسطين. إجراما ما فعل باليهود ولكن الذي يفعله اليهود اليوم على أرض فلسطين أليس إجراما؟ انظروا إلى التاريخ الحديث. أين ذهبت بريطانيا العظمى؟ أين ذهبت روسيا القيصرية؟ أين ذهبت فرنسا التي كادت أن تحكم العالم؟ أين ذهبت ألمانيا النازية التي ذبحت الملايين وحكمت الأرض؟ أين ذهبت كل هذه القوى؟ الذي أذهبها سيذهب أمريكا بإذن الله تعالى. الذي أذهب روسيا في يوم وليلة هو القادر على أن يذهب أمريكا ويسقطها بإذن الله، ويسقطها بإذن الله تعالى. لقد حكمنا الدنيا، وسيأتي يوم والله نحكم فيه كل الدنيا. سيأتي يوم نحكم فيه أمريكا، سيأتي يوم نحكم فيه بريطانيا، ونحكم فيه كل العالم إلا اليهود. اليهود لن يعيشوا في ظل حكمنا هانئين مستقرين، لأنه في طبيعتهم الغد سيكون على مدار التاريخ. سيأتي يوم يرتاح من اليهود كل شيء، حتى الحجر والشجر الذي تأذى منهم. اسمعوا حبيبكم صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو يحدثكم عن أسوأ نهاية لليهود. الحجر والشجر يريد أن ينهي المسلم على كل يهود.
So this is just by way of introduction, gives you a picture of the worldview. A common slur in the anti-Jewish propaganda is the Jews are the descendants of apes and pigs. This is based or derived from certain verses in the Quran, 3 instances in the Quran. It doesn't say actually, the Quran does not say the Jews are the descendants of apes and pigs. It does say, in one instance, that Allah punished a group of Jews for violating the Sabbath. He punished them by turning them into apes and pigs. The technical term is transmogrifying them into apes and pigs. And then there are many debates on whether the Jews of today are all descendants of these apes and pigs, or whether the apes and pigs of today are all descendants of Jews. But actually, the dominant school of exegetes say that it's neither this or that, because Allah also punished this group of people that they'd be barren and so they were destroyed and finished, and the apes and pigs of today are not the descendants of Jews. Nor are Jews any more descendants of apes more than other types of human beings. So this is taught to children, and this lovely child here.
بسملة، انتي تعرفي اليهود؟ بتحبيهم؟ لا ما بتحبيهمش ليه؟
كده
عشان هم ايه؟
هم قردة وخنازير.
عشان هم قردة وخنازير؟ مين قال عليهم كده؟
ربنا.
قال عليهم فين؟
القرآن.
قال عليهم في القرآن كده صح.
The next one is actual
هيا إلى بضاعة يوم السبت. نحن نبيع في اليوم الذي حرم الله من قبل ونحقق الثراء.
ما أجمل العمل يوم السبت، ما أجمل العمل يوم السبت. أنا أعمل يوم السبت وأتحدى إرادة السماء.
انظر يا بني، لقد صار الشباب منهم قردة وشيوخ خنازير.
ليعلموا أن وعد الله الحق وأنه شديد العقاب.
الحمد لله الذي نجانا. ومكثوا كذلك 3 أيام ثم هلكوا، فقذفتهم الريح في البحر.
The child that was shown was from the Family magazine on a major Egyptian channel, and the clay animation was a program, a whole movie about the Jews and how they were turned into apes and pigs, which was produced by El Manar TV. The Manat television is the television channel of Hezbollah in Lebanon. The next clip that you're going to see has to do with Jews as the killers of Muhammad. Many of us want to believe that unlike Christian anti-Semitism, which is related also to theological motive or motivation, that Jews were accused of murdering Jesus, Son of God, God, Son of God. There is no such aspect to Islam. Unfortunately, this soothing idea is wrong because, according to Islamic tradition, Jews attempted a number of times to kill Muhammad. Finally, a Jewish woman tried to poison him, and though he was saved from death, 4 years later, on his deathbed, he said that it is the effect of poison which hastened his death. So there is also this account on part of Islam against Jews, and it's a very powerful one. Here it is explained in a children's program on a TV channel.
فاليهودية عزمت النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. ليه عزمت النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام؟ هي كانت ذكية. قالت إن كان نبي هيعرف وهنعرف. أما إن كان بيدعي النبوة فهيموت ونستريح منه. فكانت تعلم بأن الحبيب النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يحب ذراع الشاه اليمنى. من الأمام كده الربع اليمين في المقدمة كان الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم بيحبه. فجاءت ودست السم بعد ما الشاه اندبحت وانسلخت وقطعت وطهيت، قامت حاطه السم في اللحم بتاع الذراع، لانها عرفت بان النبي سالت محمد بيحب ياكل ايه من الذراع؟ في واحد يحب ياكل من الكبد، وفي يحب ياكل من الراس، وواحد ياكل من لسان الذبيحه، واحد ياكل مثلا من انواع معينه من اللحوم. فقالوا لها الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم بيحب ياكل من الذراع اليمنى. فجت بقى ودست فيه السم. فشوف بعد ما الشاة ان ذبحت وسلخت وقطعت وطهيت وقدمت للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. فلما النبي عليه الصلاه والسلام قال بقى بسم الله، لازم المسلم اول ما يقول ايه؟ بسم الله. فالنبي عليه الصلاه والسلام بدأ يقول كده بسم الله، وقطع قطعة من اللحم وجاء يأكلها. ربنا سبحانه وتعالى أنطق الشاة وأحياها وقالت لا تأكلني فأنا مسمومة يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. طب أنا عايزك يا رقية، أنت استفدت من الحلقة إيه؟
استفدت من اليهود أهل بدر وفيها.
الله أكبر، قولوا الله أكبر. شوفوا رقية خالد إيه؟ اليهود أهل غدر وخيانة. الله يوفقك يا رب. احنا عايزين الام اللي تعلم ابنائها الجهاد وحب الله ورسوله والتضحية من اجل الاسلام وحب بلاد المسلمين. بارك الله فيك يا رقي. اجمل عبارة اسمعها ان اليهود اهل غدر وخيانة
The next one is actually a combination of a number of clips from various channels, and that has to do with the tradition from the Prophet Muhammad. In the end of time, Muslims will fight the Jews and are ordered to kill all the Jews. And since it is repeated in the same style, because it is a prophetic tradition attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, our team at Memory just combined a few words from each because they continue the same sentence, that on the Day of Judgment, all Jews will be killed by the Muslims. So there it is. The tree that is shown here, it says that all trees will tell about the Jews, with the exception of a certain tree called Gharqad. Nobody knows today exactly what the Gharqad is, but the Gharqad, according to this tradition, will be associated to the Jews and would not tell on them. So it is called the tree of the Jews. So here is the tradition.
لن تقوم الساعة
حتى يقاتل المسلمون اليهود.
فيقتلهم المسلمون، فيجد اليهودي فيختبئ وراء الشجر والحجر حتى يقول الشجر والحجر:
يا مسلم يا عبد الله، هذا يهودي ورائي فتعال فاقتل إلا الغرقد فإنه من شجر اليهود.
اليهود الآن يزرعون هذا الشجر الآن بكثرة في فلسطين لأنهم يقولون بذلك. الغرقد.
ولو دخل أي واحد منكم ونظر إلى هذه المغتصبات إن تيسر له ذلك عبر جوجل إيرث أو غير ذلك من البرامج، لاستطاع أن يرى هذه الشجرة ظاهرة تحيط بكل مكان عندهم.
سنقاتلهم وسنهزمهم وسنستأصل شأفتهم فلا يعود على ظهر الأرض يهودي واحد.
Next one has a number of speakers on a variety of channels, mostly Egyptian but not only Egyptian, repeat or insist that it is a religious requirement, a good work, a virtuous work, to hate Jews.
وإحنا كراهيتنا أو كرهنا لليهود من منطلق عقيدة. القرآن هو اللي بيدعونا إن إحنا نكرههم وما نحبهمش.
لو أن اليهود تركوا لنا فلسطين خلاص يبقوا حبايبنا؟ لا طبعا، عمرهم ما هيبقوا حبايبنا إطلاقا. عقيدتك في اليهود: واحد أنهم كفار، اثنين أنهم أعداء. مش أعداء عشان يحتلوا فلسطين، وإنما هم أعداء ولو لم يحتلوا شيئا.
نحن نعادي يهود حتى ولو أعادوا إلينا فلسطين لأنهم كفار.
هؤلاء هم اليهود باختصار، وإن لنا عندهم نحن المسلمين لثأرا لا والله لن ينقضي إلا باستئصالهم بإذن الله تعالى، لأنهم حاولوا ابتداء قتل نبينا صلى الله عليه وسلم مرات.
أعداء المسلمين بعد إبليس هم اليهود. من الذي قال ذلك؟ الله.
Now we move to motifs which are important to the Muslim world and then Arabized or Islamized, and these include blood libel, which has been imported to the Arab Muslim world in the 19th century, but since then has sort of taken root and is believed and propagated by various channels. Let's start with the middle picture, this one. This is from Iranian TV, where, so to speak, experts or historians discuss the Jewish problem.
خود غربی ها متاسفانه دو حادثه بسیار تکان دهنده که یهودیان در قرن 19 در خود اروپا به طور مشخص در پاریس و لندن انجام داده اینها را فراموش کردن. در سال 1883 بود که حدود 150 کودک فرانسوی در حومه پاریس در آستانه عید فصح یهودیان اینها رو به طرز فجیع کشته بودن و تحقیقات بعدی نشان داد که یهودی‌ها اونها رو کشتن و خون اونها رو گرفتن و این حادثه موجب شد که یک شورش عجیبی در اون زمان در پاریس اتفاق بیفته و دولت فرانسه تحت فشار قرار گرفت. نظیر این حادثه در لندن اتفاق افتاد و تعداد زیادی از کودکان انگلیسی کشته شدن توسط همین خاخامای یهودی.
This one comes from this is hard to watch because it shows actually how the rabbis slaughter the Christian child to use the blood for hard to watch. I warn you.
لا تخافوا لا تخافوا.
This one explains the technique of how the Jews get out or extricate the blood from the technicalities of it.
كان بيقول لازم يعني يكون الطفل لم يبلغ الحلم غير بالغ ويتم اختطافه ووضعه في برميل مخصص لهذا الشأن به فتحات جانبية تتركز على أماكن الشرايين ويتم غرس هذه الأسياخ حديدية من هذا البرميل حتى يتم تصفية دماء هذا الطفل وبعد ذلك يتم جمع الدماء واستخدامها في عيد الفطر.
عايز اخواتنا يعرفوا العالم يعرف اللي بيحصل الان في عيد الفصل وما كتبه الدكتور نجيب الكيلاني. اقرأوا رواية نجيب الكيلاني دم لفطير صهيون، وان الصهاينة في هذه الايام كل عام بيخطفوا بعض غير المسلمين من نصارى وغيرهم. وعلى فكرة القصة دي حصلت في حارة من حارات اليهود في الشام. قتل الدكتور توماس الفرنسي اللي كان بيعالج اليهود وغيرهم مجانا، لكن كان بيعالج عشان يبشر بالمسيحية، مع انهم اكثر ناس استفادوا منه كانوا اصحابه. جابوه في عيد من هذه الاعياد وذبحوه هو الممرض وعجنوا الفطير بدم هذا الدكتور توماس وممرضه، ويفعلون هذا كل عام. لابد العالم يعرف هذه الحقائق عن الكيان الصهيوني وعن العقائد الفاسده الرهيبه. العالم لازم يعرف هذه الاشياء.
The speaker here is who appeared on the Al-Aqsa, that is the Hamas TV channel this year, in March this year, is all, among other things, because he's based in, moves from one Gulf country to the other, but he's also based in the United States. He's was the Imam of the Ohio Islamic Center. Salah Sultan. So he has also sort of American affiliation, educates Muslims here. Finally, there is this guy here. This is a sort of a variation on the theme. It's not about blood libel, but how Jews are fascinated with extricating or spilling the blood of non-Jews. In this case, the hero or the villain of the story is our president, Shimon Peres. It's ludicrous, but well.
شيمون بيريز كان قائدا لسلاح والفرق الدبابات كانت بتصف الأسرى من الجنود المصريين في 67 ويدوس عليهم بالدبابة. 67 شيمون بيريز كان القتلى المصريين اللي بيقتلهم بإيديه بيصفي دمهم في الخوذة الحديد بتاعهم، والخوذة مليانة بدم الشهداء المصريين علشان يجففوا ويحطوا للذكرى عنده عشان كل ما يشوفه يبقى أدى دوره عند الرب.
A very prevalent theme in the anti-Jewish propaganda in the Middle East is based on the protocols of the Elders of Zion. This has become, the Jews are engaged in a world conspiracy to control the whole world, has become sort of a central part of the political discourse. Of course, there are those who come out and speak against it, but they are a small minority. That Jews are behind this a conspiracy to control the world is extremely common notion. In this case, it's a theme of a a television series in Egypt, and this was in 2002, but of course DVDs are sold all over the world, and it was screened, aired on other channels too. So this is where the hero explains to his friends about the protocols.
الحركة الصهيونية العنصرية دي حركة بتتحضر من زمان، خطة بتتحضر من زمان وكمان من قبل الميلاد. غزو صهيوني سلمي لكل دول العالم وبخبز التعبان الرمزي. التعبان ده معمول له خريطة. مرسوم له خريطة ازاي؟ التعبان ده بيتحرك ويلف ويقيد دول العالم ويستعبدها بطرق جهنمية. الطرق دي هي الغزو الاقتصادي اللي بيضعف قوتها بكل وسائل العنف والخديعة. الخطة الصهيونية دي طبعا مرسومة بدقة عشان ينشروا بين شباب العالم المجون والخمور والفجور واللهو والفساد. التعبان الرمز الصهيوني مرسوم له خط سير على الخريطة خطوة خطوة. أول خطوة بيزحف في أوروبا سنة 429 قبل الميلاد في اليونان عصر براكليس. طبعا التعبان الصهيوني اتهم بقوة الدولة دي. المرحلة الثانية سنة 69 قبل الميلاد في روما عهد الإمبراطور أغسطس. الخطوة الثالثة 1552 ميلادية في مدريد في عهد شارلز الخامس. الخطوة الرابعة في باريس 1790 ميلادية في عهد لويس السادس عشر. الخطوة الخامسة في لندن 1814 بعد سقوط نابليون. السادسة في برلين بعد الحرب الفرنسية الروسية، والسابعة في بطرسبورغ 1881. كل الدول دي عدى عليها التعبان الصهيوني واهتز فيها الاساس الدستوري. حتى انجلترا والمانيا رغم قوتهم التعبان الصهيوني تجاوز حدودهم الاقتصاديه لغايه ما خلص غزو روسيا من 1905. لو بصينا على الخريطه وخطوات التعبان ده مش هنلاقي بعد كده اي اثر لخط سيره الا بعض الاسهم اللي بتشاور على موسكو وكييف واوديسا، وسهم تاني بيشاور على الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية.
هذا لسه ما قرب التعبان اللي بينا بشهوره.
لا، ما هو لفة التعبان دي كلها عشان في الآخر راس التعبان تبلع بلادنا.
So this was the movie about the protocols as a central theme in it. The notion that the Jews are behind international drug trafficking and drug commerce is so common that this is a still picture from news broadcast in Tehran when the police made a drug haul. They arranged it in the shape of Magen David because, of course, drugs and Jews naturally go together. Next one, please. Next one is about Jews as Christ killers, a rather strange thing for Muslims because according to the Quran, Jesus did not die on the cross. Still, Qaradawi, the chief, the greatest mentor or preacher of Islamism in the world, of Sunni Islam, Egyptian, based now in Qatar, Qaradawi, praises Mel Gibson's Passion of Christ. Okay, can you
والمسيح حتى وان كنا نعتقد انه لم يصلب، ولكن هناك جريمه ارتكبت والذين مهدوا لهذه الجريمه وساعدوا فيها وقدموا المسيح الى الصلب وظلوا وراء القضيه حتى حكم الحاكم الوالي قبل الروم.